checking in no bag, shopping when we land. Big FN bag of ball. Plead the fifth if I get caught, they talk. Came through dripping on them, I been saucing.
In today's video, we'll be discussing who is really the legit guru and who is the fake guru. After all these YouTube videos you've been watching of all these types of different traders, you guys really need to figure out who's the real trader, who to learn from, and who not to learn from. And that's going to be the purpose of today's video, which I'll be going over who, from my personal experience, as well as evidence from other members, are legit and who's not legit. So let's just jump straight into it. We have a lot of the traders that you guys probably are very familiar with. I know a lot of these traders, and I've done actually in my first year of trading, I've done a lot of these people's personal trading program actually, so I can attest personally as well to my personal experience to who's real and who's not real. So let's just first start off with one of the more scammy people first, and then we build our way up essentially. So first off, Gutierrez. This guy is going to be D tier, meaning he's the worst guru of all time. Maybe not all the time, but he's one of the worst gurus. I remember seeing his YouTube videos my first year, and I was so into indicators at the time and not price action at all. I was solely focused on indicators because of Gutierrez. He makes YouTube videos talking about indicators all the time, about EMA crossovers, VWAP, SMA, all these things. You guys can even program a bot, which is what I actually did. So what I did is I used PineScript programming, which I know and I'm familiar with. That's how I was able to program the ETU private indicators that sell for my community members, or people that know how to trade my strategy, right? Those are programmed using PineScript, and what you essentially do is use PineScript programming you can program an EMA crossover, SMA, whatever, and majority of times you end up with a profit factor of about a 1.0. which after commissions and fees of live trading, it is not working and it doesn't work. So Gutierrez, all he really talks about is really just indicators. But again, majority of things he teaches, which is about trading off pure indicators, is not valid at all. So, and they don't work. If it really did work, you would have a bot that just runs off these crossovers all the time and generates you infinite money. But that's not how trading really works. Real trading takes a lot of screen time and experience. So again, Gutierrez, we're gonna put at D tier. Next up, we are gonna go with, if I can see clear, this is Q Banks. I'm also gonna put this guy at D tier. I know a lot of you guys praise this guy because he talks a lot all the time at conventions like FX Summit. A lot of you guys probably have gone to FX Summit. Me personally, I used to really look up to FX Summit and all these FX Force traders until I later realized all their money is coming from these course selling, mentorship, and all sorts of affiliations, right? Affiliate links make a ton of money also, by the way, for those that don't know, especially with a big fan base like them. Their affiliate links make them bank easily 6 figures a month just off affiliates because of the amount of views and attention they bring in all the time. So that's another thing you definitely need to keep in mind. Q Banks, I'm gonna put in a D tier just because remember his story of going from Walmart or Target, going from Target to multi-millions, owns like 10 plus cars, all these things. They're not from trading. I also remember seeing a video of him where he was in a trade with no stop loss and he was down to 480K. That's just horrible risk management. First off, entering with no stop loss, that's a big red flag. And second of all, the way he was viewing it definitely was very emotional, and it's not something a real trader would be. A real trader would not be super scared or frightened in moments like that. You just know you're supposed to trade off probabilities, and people that don't trade off probabilities know that they most likely do not know how to trade and how trading really works. So I'm gonna put these two at D tier. We're also gonna put my boy Nor trades at D tier. And the reason why is very simple. I used to believe this guy my first year trading. I actually paid for his signals my first year. So currently I'm in my 3rd year of trading, for those that don't know, as a full-time, 2nd year of full-time trading. My first year was unprofitable, and then after my first year I had a breakthrough, had a profitable strategy, profitable system, worked on my psychology and discipline, and those two things combined with risk management, you'll get to consistent profitability, trading a system in and out every single day. But I remember my time with Nor trades in his Discord. It was $200 a month, which by the way is quite expensive for Discord signals. He has lessons weekly, but these lessons aren't even hosted by him, and majority of times they're hosted by interns that they call, people that he just hangs around with that help him pay for the bills as well. They also have their own social media page as well, and apparently these interns also do their own consultation and mentorship themselves, which is quite interesting and very weird. But you know, I'm not going to judge that. Nonetheless, the things he teaches in his weekly lessons were not really important. They're very basic things that you can find for free, like risk management. What is that? I mean, everyone knows how risk management. You need to be in more detail on how these things work, be more specific on your strategy, things like that. But again, his Discord, I remember subbing to it $200 a month. I'd stayed for about 3 months. If I have track record, I'll put it up here of my billing. If not, then yeah, basically I was in there for 3 months 3 years ago and spent about basically $600 of my own money. and his signals were not working. They were unprofitable, and majority of times he would have a very negative risk to reward, meaning his winners would be small, his losers would be big. Despite a high win rate system, it still ended not good because overall his expectancy of his system is just not profitable. And that's just what happens when you trade something like that with no proven results or data backing what you're doing. But yeah, again, like I said, his signals are unprofitable, so don't even bother trying to pay and trying to learn from him. Put him at D tier based on personal experience. Now, next up, we have, let's see, Tori trades. I'm gonna put Tori, honestly, at C tier. And the reason why is a lot of people hate her because of her trendline trading, right? Trendlines do work to a certain point. I have batches of trendlines myself, and the edge that trendlines provide is not very high. It's a very small edge, but it does indeed work in a live market. It's a slight edge. If you use them properly, you can get a slight edge in a market. I've done back testing over 100 trades using just pure trend lines. And of course, you could say market experience and intuition is also part of how you use your trend line. So I guess you could say it's not purely trend lines, but also understanding supply and demand correlation, as well as pair correlation and many other things. Many using market structure and trend lines, you can actually become profitable. It just won't be a good trading system, as in it won't be very profitable where you could be making a lot of money within your first year. It'll probably take you several years to stack up that amount with a slight edge. I'll put Tori trades at C tier just because she's also been on multiple podcasts, and doesn't mean anything, by the way, but she did show her track record, meaning her trades, broker statements essentially. And so you could say that is at least better than having no evidence at all, right? Now, the thing with broker statements is people can deposit money and withdraw it and make it seem like they made that much money that they just withdrew, right? I could deposit 500K and withdraw 500K, just as an example, by the way. And on the broker statement, it will say you withdrew 500K, and people would think that you actually made 500K, but you just put it in the account. Or you could take it out multiple times, let's say per month, and trick people into thinking you actually made that money when you already had that money from selling courses and mentorship. So now her videos, a lot of times I see now, has shifted into more like the guru style, really lifestyle, showing off. I know she bought a Porsche as well recently, past few months. And you can see even from her data, if you go to her WAP page, I think WAP removed this, but before you could previously see the live sales, especially if you apply to WAP Marketplace, you can see live sales being shown. And essentially from there, you're able to see that she was making in, when I was looking at it at least for a little bit, about 1 to 2K a day, just off of really selling her mentorship and course that she has to offer. One of them was like 227, I believe, or 297 one-time payment, but the other one was like a monthly fee. And you can even check the reviews, and there's some pretty bad reviews on there saying that she really doesn't get involved much with the community. And yeah, it's just not specific enough to be worth learning. So I'm gonna put her at C tier just because they're broker statements, but again, those can be also faked as well, honestly. Nowadays, there's not really a real way to really prove yourself as a trader, to be honest, on the internet. So I'm gonna put her at C tier just because of that. And she has been trading for 10 years, I believe now. She's traded 7 years prior to starting like YouTube stuff or becoming this like big guru. But you know, I'll put her at C tier for that. Now this guy, I think this is Danny Trades. This is a very bad picture. Hold on. But yeah, I believe this is Danny Trades. He now works for Team Bull. Again, I'm up to date on my social media stuff, guys. I'm part of the trading community, so I know what's up. I know what's going on with these trading communities and how they work and where everyone is at. Danny Trades, he's now hired by Team Bull, which actually Team Bull, Jay Dunn he's right here. I believe that's Jay Dunn right there. Again, the pictures are hard to see, but I see a green Lambo, and that's what he has. So him and Jay Dunn now work together to run Team Bull, and they also have a prop firm called Funded Futures Family, if you guys haven't heard about that. So their own futures prop firm. They are pretty expensive, I will say, based on the pricing I've seen. But again, they are a firm, and I cannot say anything in terms of whether the firm is legit, if they pay out or not, because I've never traded with them before. I mainly trade my personal account now, and once in a while we'll trade prop firms just for fun. But again, mostly personal account now, so can't say much on their firm. But based on reviews and how the community is really ran, based on signals as well, when Jay Dunn was charging $200 a month, I think he still is now, but I'm not entirely sure, because these gurus have transitioned to more of like a coaching one-on-one sales call, and then they charge you $1,000 for mentorship, which is not what I do. I don't do a coaching sales call. It's up to you immediately if you want to pay for my course or mentorship or not. I'm not gonna try to do a sales call and try to persuade you guys or hire leads to persuade you guys into buying my stuff. I think that's just straight up guru, and it's a big red flag. So I don't do that. I'm gonna put this guy at C tier. along with Jay Dunn, because I believe Jay Dunn showed broker statements as well. But again, it's more like withdrawals that you can easily fake, and it's just not really something that you can really trust. Actually, I'm gonna put Jay Dunn at B. Oh, I'll say I need to put some people above. I'm gonna put both of them at C actually, just because if you see Danny trades live, he literally takes the dumbest trades ever where he goes for like barely anything, and it's just, it doesn't look like trading to me when he's trading. There's nothing mechanical about his trading strategy. It's all like guessing. He's gambling. So he's a gambler trader sending alerts for Jay Dunn. Now, Jay Dunn himself doesn't even really send alerts majority of times. He doesn't even tell people. But again, nonetheless, Jay Dunn himself doesn't even send really real-time alerts. A lot of times, the complaints that they get really from Team Bull members is that they don't tell when they're in or not. They just say, oh, good trade, things like that. They don't actually tell exactly when they get in. They do have two other people also that signal. I believe one of them is called Green Eyes, and the other one, I forgot his name. I think it's called Grizzly Investments or something. But they also have their own kind of YouTube channel and stuff like that. You guys can look up. But they do help him send alerts and stuff. And I just heard they're better than Jay Dunn himself in terms of being there all the time and at least getting involved, which is the least you could do. I mean, that's not even part of the least you can do. That's part of what people are paying for. Next up, we have Aruda Investments putting at D tier. This guy doesn't know how to trade at all, right? He goes over very basic stuff that everyone knows and teaches for free on YouTube. Do not pay for his honey drip network, whatever stuff he got going on. I remember he had like a video that went viral with Lil Baby, and he was trying to get Lil Baby to promote his stuff and stuff, talking about investing, and he doesn't even know much himself. I will say he is good at long-term investing, right? I've seen his long-term portfolio. He's shown it. His long-term investing is good, but again, a lot of people are not here to learn how to long-term invest. They're here to learn how to day trade or swing trade and make those short-term gains to become a full-time trader. Because long-term investing, you're not going to get really rich off unless you're giving yourself maybe 5 to 10 years or longer, right? Typically for long-term investing to pay off. You also need a lot of capital because long-term investments, you're not making huge percent returns. So you need a lot of capital to make a lot, especially if you're going to live off that. It's not like you can take in money and withdraw it every single time you need to pay rent, bills, things like that with long-term investing. You need to keep that money inside your account. So next up, this guy, I'm gonna ignore this guy. This guy, who the hell is this? Yeah, no, I don't know this guy, okay? Mossy trades, I'm gonna put her at C tier just because I don't know enough about her, but I've seen her trade as well. She does like supply and demand stuff, a little bit of everything really that's retail trading strategies that people will consider. Again, I've seen her YouTube channel stuff, but I think I'll put her at C tier just because I don't really have too much information about her. And that's only fair. This guy, he's pretty famous for being not legit, so I don't even need to go into him, putting him at D tier. There's some interesting people for sure here. Let's see. Humble Trader, and also this guy, both very popular. I'm gonna put Lamo Raul, put him at D tier. You guys already know why. This guy's the same like Q Banks. They don't really, I wouldn't say they work together, but they're pretty good friends, I'd say, and they kind of do the same stuff, showing off lifestyle, cars. Lamo Raul's dad also, Dr. Smile, he's really rich. So he did not grow up poor at all, and there's nothing you can really relate to him on in terms of how he got up to the top. So not to go over him. This guy, I'd say, honestly, he's B tier. I'm going to give it to him just because I remember seeing his videos when I first started trading, and he does a lot of free stuff, a lot of free YouTube content. So there's no point in paying for this guy's course or mentorship. Don't pay for his stuff, especially if he teaches a lot of stuff for free that's very basic. So if he's teaching a lot of stuff that's very basic for free, you probably shouldn't be looking into his paid stuff just because you probably already know roughly his knowledge level in terms of things, but he does have good concepts and things that you should understand about how the market really moves and works. So I'm going to put him at B tier. I'm going to give it to him. Again, there has been videos exposing him also for not being a real trader, but again, I'm going to put him at B tier because he has a lot of free YouTube content that's actually valuable. Next up, I'm going to go for Swaggy C, D tier. Again, another one of those big time gurus. I used to believe this guy my first year of trading as well. I saw his Big Brother video where he's shooting the basketball hoop. You guys know, you know, but you know, he's not legit. So I'm going to put him at D tier. He also did a rug pull basically on his prop firm, secured a bag, and a lot of people lost funding. He wouldn't pay people out, and it was bad. So put him at D tier. This guy, I don't think I recognize. I also don't think I recognize this guy. I know this guy. I'm gonna put, sometimes I be forgetting these dudes' names, but I'm gonna put this guy. See, I don't know too much about this guy. I've just seen his videos. He does like penny stock stuff, so nothing really related to the stuff I do. I trade like the main things like gold, indices, currencies, and he doesn't really do much of that stuff really at all. So I'm gonna put him at C tier. Again, not enough information. Mama FX. I also seen this guy. This guy's a big time guru. Just gonna put him at D straight up. Not gonna give any explanation there. Is this Mossy trades twice? Ain't no way. All right. Anyway, we're gonna keep going. This guy, I seen him, but I'm not gonna rate him just because I have almost no information on this guy. Humble trader. I'm gonna give her. She clearly doesn't know how to trade herself or doesn't trade herself, but I'm gonna give her B tier because she does a lot of educational content on trading as well, but also does a lot of content doing like podcasts, interviewing famous people, and just really more like things that are more, I want to say fundamental to trading, but trading news related stuff. So I'm gonna give her B tier along with this guy right here, honestly, just because of that. But again, I wouldn't say these guys are profitable traders at all. Is this what I think it is? No, I don't think. I'm not gonna rate that guy. I'm not gonna rate this guy. I don't think this. Investor Trade. Before I get into that, we have 3 more people that I do know. Investor Trade, Umar, and Mom FX. Mom FX, I'm gonna give him honestly low key. This is hard. I'm gonna give him a. It could be C or B honestly at this point. I'm gonna give him a B tier just because he does have a strategy which is breakouts, and it's definitely a lot more mechanical than some of these other people that are trading, things like that. He does have a lot of free educational content as well, but I will say I don't have any experience in his paid group at all. But I do remember I did his paid signals my first year of trading, and they were honestly close to break even. So he's part of the top, you could say 80% or top 20% of traders, because 90% are losing money. So the fact that his signals are around break even, like hovering about break even, meaning sometimes I would have green weeks, sometimes I'll have red weeks, but overall my account really was like, it wasn't going negative, but more so it was just kind of break even area. I'm gonna give him B tier for his signals, but again, they're not like consistently profitable signals, so keep that in mind. And also the problem with the signals is he sends them very late. You guys know he trades breakouts, but that's not gonna be a valid reason to be sending your signals late. In fact, sometimes people purposely send their signals late as a way to promote themselves into thinking when they're posted on their stories to make other people think that they're actually profitable and they enter there, when in reality they entered at a way higher price. For example, if you're trying to send like a breakout to the upside, you put your entry price in your text message in Telegram as, I don't know, 16K on NAS, for example. And then everyone else, when they receive the message, NAS is already at 16.2K, for instance. I'm just giving random numbers, by the way. But you guys understand the point. The signals are being sent late, and therefore his TP targets, he also has usually 4 or 5 TPs, which makes it very inconsistent trading, because you guys know, depending on which TP you're targeting every time, it will change your results of how much profit or loss you're really making 100%. Because risk reward does have a huge correlation to your success of trading. Now, along with win rate, because if you're taking those TP4s, your win rate is going to be very low taking the signals, but your R is going to be higher. So again, a lot of things like that are unclear, as well as his TP1 usually is at 1-to-1 risk reward. But when you're trading with him, the thing is, because you're entering late, your TPs are really not really at 1-to-1 majority of times. They're really not. What you're trying, they're at like, I'm not gonna give a specific example. I could probably think of something, but they're really just not at 1-to-1, right? So you guys definitely gotta keep in mind, they're usually at around, I would say, average 1 to 0.6. Okay, that's gonna be a pretty good average, I'd say, for what it is. So definitely something you want to keep in mind when you're trading. All right, yeah, so that should be good with the ring light right there. But anyway, next up, I don't want to make this video too long. We do have Umar. Umar, I'm gonna put him at A tier, because I think this guy is at least one of the more credible people that a lot of people really respect and look upon. He does show his broker statements, I guess, in a way as well on his trading platform, but he also does sell a trading journal software, which obviously for sure makes easy, I would say close to 7 figures a year just off the trading journal. I know there's costs involved when running a software company like that. You need software engineers, developers, but majority of those are typically one-time costs, unless of course if you're scaling like him, it's not going to be one time. But nonetheless, again, I do believe this guy is one of the more legit people on the list, so I'm gonna put him at A tier. And again, there's a few things that I would question about him just because of the way he says stuff online. For example, he says a lot of this philosophical stuff that makes it seem a little sus. Like, for example, he's saying things like, I don't trade too much anymore just because, this. And to me, there's no reason to not trade as much anymore. He talks about stress in trading, which is true, but if you're truly profitable, and you've done it for years, like him, like 7 years plus, it shouldn't be as stressful as you may make it seem. And you should still be trading typically very actively because it makes you money. So why would you cut out a very big money making income source, especially if you're compounding your personal account for that long? You could be making bank. Why you're just missing out on profits really majority of times when you're stopping trading like that. So he's not really active really in trading himself anymore, it seems, which kind of is a red flag, honestly, meaning he's relying more on majority of his income right now, buying the cars that he's gifting and things like that, really on his TradeZella subscription and YouTube revenue. Of course, he has a very big YouTube channel and affiliates. I'm putting him at A tier nonetheless. This guy, okay, I used to believe this guy a ton. Carmine, he runs Invested Trade. I'm gonna put this guy honestly at B tier. Actually, I think it's disrespectful to put him at B tier. I'm putting him at A tier just because I do think the stuff he teaches at least is more in depth in terms of order flow. But again, I'm not an order flow trader. I don't believe in order flow like that just because you can see on the candles themselves, it tells you to measure and move. So you know what? The only reason why I'm gonna keep him at B tier, I just don't want to have Carmine with these other 3 people. I think these other 3 people are worse than Carmine. But again, Carmine does sell a course again, which is not my problem here. But it's just the stuff I see on his YouTube. The theory, supply and demand makes sense. The only thing is his strategy really is very, very discretional. It's extremely discretional, which I wouldn't say entirely is a red flag, but it sort of is, just because you don't want to learn something that's very discretional. When someone says something is very discretional, it just means they can't really understand it themselves to be able to explain it to you. Of course, there's certain things in trading that will be discretional, like if you decide to short, even take any entry here regardless, or market conditions, judging those. But again, you need something that at least has some sort of mechanical edge behind it with back tested results, and he doesn't do any back testing, stuff like that. So I don't really trust traders that don't do any back testing or have any back testing data themselves, like me, to really back up what you're teaching or learning to other people. And his stats are a little suspicious. So his stats are, last time I saw, was like 45% at 6 risk reward. That is really good. If you guys don't know, 45% risk reward at 6 RR is insanely good trading. That's insanely good. Like if you go on my website right here, you have the expected value calculator, which tells you how profitable truly a system is that you're trading. I remember last time I was looking at it, he was around 40-50% win rate at 6 risk reward on his TradeZella. Now again, TradeZella, you can easily fake those stats. So again, this is not really evidence at all of his true trading. I'm just saying, if it really is, it's a little suspicious just because it's very hard to gain 45% win rate at 6 risk reward. 6 risk reward means his stops are extremely tight, because I've tried. Like I have really tight stops, but even then my average risk reward is around 4 to 5. It rarely ever 6 really. And my system is usually around 1.8 expected value. So if this is true, then I guess his trading strategy or system is better than mine. But again, it's on TradeZella, so it's not proven track record. Okay, you can delete trades and mainly input trades that you've never taken before on TradeZella. A lot of people don't know this, so they get tricked and get fooled by things like TradeZella because it's backed up by Umar. But again, you know, you got to keep in mind these things can be faked very easily. So at least he does show bank statements or broker statements. So anyway, nonetheless, I would put him at B tier, but probably in between A and B tier, honestly, in terms of his ranking, just because he shows broker statements, unlike majority of these guys here. I don't think any of these guys have showed broker statements, and he at least has something that's a lot more somewhat mechanical, right? But again, it's still more discretionary, really, from my view, because I've seen him draw his supply and demand zones, and people really question, where do you even get this line from? Right? It's not based upon the candles. Where do you get this from? Order flow. Well, order flow, it's the number of orders every single day changes. So how can you proportionally, for example, you see 30K here, how can you say 30K here is the same as 50K the next day? It's not. It could be the same. It could actually be the same thing, but proportionally there's less volume that day or more volume that day. So again, there's a lot of things that really about order flow that doesn't hit me in the right spot, honestly. It's too discretionary in my opinion. You're not using your eyes to actually count the number of orders coming in or seeing how buyers and sellers are interacting, because how buyers and sellers are interacting is shown on the chart on candles as well, just not without numbers. So unless you have an algorithm that's computing these numbers like these mathematicians or institutions, then I say that's valid if you have an algorithm. But if you don't have an algorithm that's computing these numbers, you're not obviously computing these numbers yourself in your head, okay? And you know, clearly, yeah, So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out my Discord course and mentorship. Discord server is free. Feel free to join if you guys are looking into any free training resources. On my website, I do have the paid course, which is the 100R Risk Reward Advanced course for those that are interested in learning my 100% proven profitable strategy. And then the one-on-one mentorship, I only have one spot left for that for those that are truly interested in changing their life around and wanting that personal handheld guidance to profitability. And I'll see y'all in the next one.